18 years ago, I made a non-traditional career move. And I moved from the banking sector to the nonprofit sector. And I remember telling a number of my colleagues at the bank about what I was going to do, that I was going to work for an organization called the CARA program here in Chicago. And for those of you who don't know, CARA is not the Chicago Athletic Runners Association, okay? It's a wonderful workforce development organization, www.thecaraprogram.org. There's a big donate now button, so just FYI. I'm sorry, I showed my true colors, forgive me. But I remember telling a number of my colleagues at the bank what I was going to do, and they were all very supportive. But there were a number of people at the bank, when I would tell them what I was doing, that I was going to be working with homeless individuals who were homeless, people struggling in poverty. And I was going to help them to re-enter the workforce. There were a number of those individuals at the bank that they would give me this expression, this reaction that I can only describe as a puppy dog look. They'd look at me and they'd furrow their brow, tilt their head. They'd say, "Wow, Eric, you're working in the oh my God. Wow." And they would say something to the effect of like, good got somewhere in the statement, like, "Aren't you a good person? Oh, wow, you're really good, really noble." And I remember when they would tell me this and say this to me, I'd have this visceral reaction like, wow, you don't know me very well at all. Because my friends and my family, they will tell you I'm really not a very good person. You get to a certain age, you turn non-49, non-51, you accept it. But it was always a curious interchange. I'm not that noble, good person that's out to save the world. But what I am is I am driven by mission. I'm driven by mission. A mission that's bigger than me, a mission that inspires me. And I would venture to say that everybody in this room, the fact that you're even here, you too are driven by mission. That's why you do what you do. You're driven by a mission that inspires you. That's why you work hard. That's why you dream big. That's why you take bold action. That's why you imagine a world that is about fairness and opportunity and the common good, even though there's so much evidence to suggest otherwise. Why do you do what you do? I guess my frustration being in this sector for 8 years is that here we're taking bold action and we're dreaming big and we're imagining this fabulous world. And yet, we play so small in our sector. We play so small. We identify ourselves and allow others to identify us by a mere tax status. We are the only sector that identifies itself by what it's not, the nonprofit sector. What we are, you know as well as I, we are the backbone of a thriving economy and a strong society, a civil society. That's what we are, because we're doing the work that the private sector and the public sector, they can't or they won't do, but it's work that must be done. And we're living in an exciting time. I know when we do this work, oh my gosh, we're constantly on our heels and we're reacting, but we're working and living in a very exciting time. The world is shifting so rapidly. It's a new era. It's a new age. And yes, there are tremendous challenges, but there's even greater opportunities. Because the landscape is shifting, and I don't know if you see it, but I certainly see it, but we're leaving this outdated notion of nonprofit behind. And we're moving to social impact or social purpose. We're moving from charity to causes. We're moving from donations to investments. That's where the train is going. And we can either resist it or we can embrace it, because it is an exciting time filled with opportunities. During our presentation, you probably noticed we were very intentional, very deliberate to avoid that word nonprofit. And it seeped in every once in a while. But we were pretty deliberate about that today. It was an experiment. And I'm sure some of you probably were a bit confused. What are they doing? What's going on? And that's okay. But we at Donors Forum, in addition to all these great strategic initiatives that we're doing, we want to start a conversation. We want to raise awareness, yes, about the label nonprofit, but we want to have a bigger conversation in a bigger context about the work that we do in this sector, how we perceive ourselves, and the value that others place on the work that we do. We want to have that conversation. And what's so exciting is that Donors Forum is uniquely positioned to facilitate, to host that conversation. Because we are the only regional association in the country that has this integrated model, this integrated approach, bringing together grant makers who, by the way, in case you were unclear, they're nonprofits also. Bringing together the grant makers and the service providers and their advisors under one umbrella. And I truly applaud Valerie Lees for her great foresight and her vision to be able to say, no, the opportunity here is not that we're working separately, but the opportunity is that we're working together. There's tremendous power when we work collectively on substantive issues like these strategic initiatives that we highlighted, where you really roll up your sleeves and you work side by side and you listen and you learn and you take action. There's great opportunity when we work collectively, and there's great opportunity when we work collectively on these entrenched notions about who we are and what is our value. There's great opportunity. Not only that, but we want to stretch the bounds a little bit. We want to work with the grant makers and the service providers and the advisors, but what about the impact investors? What about the for-profit space that's focused on social impact? What about social enterprise? Isn't there a place at Donors Forum for them as well? And we need to reach out and engage with them, because you know as well as I, it's not about your status. It's about what drives you, why you do what you do. For our part, we, the staff at Donors Forum, we promise to you to deliver on those services that you have told us that you want and you need, like quality education and technical assistance, like effective advocacy and really being the cheerleaders and the activists and the advocates for the work that we do. And also, you've told us you want an opportunity to connect with each other, not just within your sector, but outside your sector. Not just in person, but also on a digital platform, statewide. You want that opportunity. Our ask for you, as Stephen mentioned, get engaged. Get engaged, attend our gatherings, attend our classes. Next year, I want to have the same event, and I want this place to be standing room only. We're asking you to help us in our advocacy work, to play an active role, on these strategic initiatives, play a leadership role, and give us your ideas and your hard work. Help us to know what you're hearing, what you're experiencing, what you're seeing, so then we can take that information and share it with the entire sector. It is an exciting time. We just need to remind ourselves and tell the world that we are not non-anything. We're educators and artists and grant makers and environmentalists and workforce developers and advocates and healthcare professionals. That's who we are. That's what we're about. That is so important that we share that message not only for others, but we have to remind ourselves as well. And our value and our influence, they are significant. So let's go forth today, for we are the new Donors Forum. Let's take action. Let's work collectively. Let's create that world that we all seek. The first step, the first bit of action that you need to take is to continue on with the celebration and join us upstairs at the Stanley Field Hall, where our lovely hostess, Sue the T-Rex, is waiting for us. She's been waiting for about 1,000,000 years, if I understand. But yes, meet with people you know and be in that comfort zone, but get outside the comfort zone. Reach out to 2 or 3 people who you don't know, but they're here because they're driven by mission. Find out why they do the work that they do. It's an exciting time. Join us. You are the Donors Forum. We are the Donors Forum. Let's work collectively. Thanks so much for being here.